Good afternoon, everyone. I am Captain Joyce Sorosiki, and this is our news report for today about Elizabeth Fritzl, who has been locked up for 24 years in the basement and repeatedly tortured in the hands of her own father, Josef Fritzl. Reporting Charmaine Remedio.
Afternoon, everyone. So this is my report about Elizabeth Fritzl. Elizabeth Fritzl went missing on August 28, 1984, when she was 18 years old. Her mother, Rosemary, hastily filed a missing person report, frantic over the whereabouts of her daughter, and then weeks later, there was no word from Elizabeth, and her parents were left to assume the worst. So, iyang mama nga si Rosemary nag-report sa mga pulis nga namisi ang anak nga si Elizabeth. A weeks later, naay naabot nga suwat gikan kang Elizabeth. Iyang suwat kuno didto kay nilayas siya kay gikapoy na siya sa iyang pamilya. Niipon siya og gold. Pero mismo iyang papa nga si Josef kahibaw og asa iyang anak ug ang mga pulis walay ideya ug asa si Elizabeth. Nya naara dito sa basement. This is the picture of Elizabeth when she was 16, the last picture taken from her. The Fritzl family never suspected because Josef Fritzl was a hard-working man and was truly dedicated to his career. But for Elizabeth, Josef was a monster. At the minimum, he would visit her in the basement 3 times a week. Usually, it was every day. For the first 2 years, he left her alone, keeping her captive. Then he began to rape her, continuing the nightly visits he had begun when she was just 11 years old. 2 years into the captivity, Elizabeth became pregnant through she miscarried 10 weeks. Into the pregnancy, 2 years later, however, she fell pregnant again, this time carrying to term. In August of 1988, a baby girl named Christine was born. 2 years later, another baby was born, a boy named Stefan. Kirsten and Stefan remained in the cellar with their mother from the duration of her imprisonment, being brought weekly rations of food and water by Joseph. Elizabeth attempted to teach them with rudimentary education. She herself had to teach them and give them the most normal life she could under the horrific circumstances. Over 24 years, Elizabeth Fritzl would give birth to 5 more children. One more was allowed to remain in the basement with her. One died shortly after birth, and other 3 were taken upstairs to live with Rosemary and Joseph. Well, Joseph didn't just bring the Rosemary children up to live with them. However, in order to conceal what he was doing from Rosemary, he staged elaborate discoveries of the children, often involving placing them on bushes near the home or in the doorstep. Each time, the child would be swaddled neatly and accompanied with a note allegedly written by Elizabeth claiming that she couldn't take care of the baby and was leaving it with her parents for keeping. Shockingly, social services never questioned the appearance of the children and allowed the Fritzl to keep them as their own children. This is the 7 children that had Elizabeth in the basement. Continue reporting by Christian.
Good afternoon. This is the next happening of Elizabeth Fritzl case. However, in 2008, one of the children in the cellar fell ill. Elizabeth begged her father to allow her 19-year-old daughter, Kirsten, to get medical attention. She had fallen rapidly and critically ill, and Elizabeth was beside herself, and unexpectedly, Joseph agreed to take her to the hospital. He removed Kirsten from the cellar and called an ambulance, claiming that he had a note from Kirsten's mother explaining her condition. For a week, police questioned Kirsten and asked the public for any information on her family. Naturally, no one came forward as there was no family to speak of. The police eventually drew of Joseph and reopened the investigation into Elizabeth Fritzl's disappearance. They began to read the letters that Elizabeth had supposedly been leaving for the Fritzls and began to see. With her, Joseph finally felt the pressure had and change of heart regarding his daughter's captivity. The world may never know, but on April 26, 2008, he released Elizabeth from the cellar for the hospital to see her daughter, where hospital staff alerted police to her suspicious arrival. That night, she was taken into custody to be questioned about her daughter's illness and her father's story, questioned about her daughter's. After making the police promise, she never had to see her father again. Elizabeth Fritzl told the tale of her 24 years imprisonment. She explained how her 7 children and Joseph was the father of all 7 of them.
The police arrested Josef Fritzl that night. After the arrest, the children in the cellar were also released and Rosemary Fritzl fled the home. She had known nothing about the events taking place right when under her feet, and Joseph backed up story and never the tenants who had lived in the apartment on the first floor of the Fritzl home also never knew about what happening right beneath them, as Joseph had explained away all sounds by blaming faulty piping and noisy heater. Today, Elizabeth Fritzl lives under a new identity in the secret Austrian village known only Village X. The home is under constant CCTV surveillance and police patrol every corner. The family doesn't allow interviews anywhere within their walls and decline to give any themselves, though she is now in her mid-50s. The last photo taken her was when she was just 16 of age. The efforts of conceal her new identity were made to keep her past hidden from the media and let her live her new life. Many believe, however, that they have done a better job of ensuring the immortality as the girl held captive for 24 years.